Hey everybody, this is Dr. Chris. All right, to be honest, I am not used to doing this video thing. It is not my favorite things, but I'm giving it a whirl here. Wanted to just take a few minutes just to talk to everybody, introduce myself, and really just shed some light and give my perspective on really what is happening in the world right now with the COVID-19. Those of you that aren't familiar with my work, I am an organizational psychologist. I've spent the last 20 years studying human behavior, and it's mostly been in the workplace, but human behavior is human behavior. You know, we act at home, how we act at work. During times of adversity and challenges like we're seeing now, we tend to see the best and also the worst of human behavior. And what really spurred me to create this video to share what I'm about to share with you is that I've seen quite a few things on social media where friends of mine and normal public are just starting to get very frustrated with some of the behaviors that we're seeing in all aspects, especially here in the US. So I wanted to address that a little bit, and I want to start specifically with where we have been in the world. And so we live in a world of instant gratification. Everything is fast. We can get things off the internet. We can get information when we need it. We can get food when we need it. Relationships are quick. We can date online and find a date super quick. Everything is fast. We have packed schedules. We have become a society of multitasking. We do not seem to make the time for those things that are important. We always have good intention, but it just never seems to happen. And society has these silent demands on all of us. And these silent demands are never ending, and they keep us in this loop constantly of being busy and making sure that our schedules are full and that we go to bed exhausted every single night. And then 20 years go by and you look back at your life and you're like, what have I done in the last 20 years? Because you've been in the same routine every single day. So during times of adversity and challenge, that is when our strength builds. That's when we see our character. That's when we see if what we have been doing up to this point is working. And one of the phrases that I use quite a bit with my clients and even with my family is that we don't change until the pain of where we are becomes greater than the fear of changing. Because that fear of changing is what a lot of people are experiencing right now. We are experiencing a grieving process, really. It's a loss of our routine. It's a loss of what is known. Our bodies are starting to de-stress a little bit, and a lot of us don't understand what that looks like. When we are in a constant state of stress by keeping ourselves busy, our bodies respond in a way that we're used to. And then that stress goes away, and we've all had this experience. And all of a sudden you start getting a headache and you're extremely tired. And we've all had that experience at the end of a busy day. You have all this energy, and then maybe partway through the day you sit down, and the minute you sit down, your body takes that as a sign like, oh, I'm gonna relax now. And then all of a sudden you're exhausted. And we keep this going in our bodies on a daily basis. Our bodies are not meant to stay in that stress response for that long period of time. It does a number to our hormones. It does a number to our neurons and the way our brain works. And we have to really, really be careful how long we stay in that stress response. In my personal experience with change, I have noticed that when the universe or God or whatever you want to put in there, and whatever your belief system is, I say the universe. So whenever the universe wants me to change something in my life, it usually sends me a bunch of signs. And when I do not pay attention to those signs and make those changes, then the universe usually does it for me. Now, the kicker with that is when the universe does it for me, it's usually a lot more painful than it would be if I would have made the change on my own. And I think what we're seeing now is a long time coming of some changes that we've all needed to make in our lives, that we've needed to make as a society, that we've needed to make to protect our Mother Earth. And we weren't heeding the signs. And so the universe did it for us through COVID-19. And what COVID-19 has done is it's helped us now to step back. It's given us the gift of time. It has given us a gift of being able to self-reflect. And a lot of those things are important right now because we are in a state, a lot of people are in a state of panic. And what I'd like to say regarding that, and I've been there quite a bit in my life with a lot of different things, but we can't quite see the light at the end of the tunnel yet because we're in the middle of a big unknown. But when you cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel, it does not mean that one is not there. There is one there, and this will end. This will not go on forever, and we will be changed as a society and as individuals. So what can we do during this time as we're going through all of this? And what can we do to come out the other end even better than we were as humans and have better behaviors than we had before? One of the things is meditation. And I know that that sometimes is a tricky word for some folks. You don't have to sit cross-legged, with your fingers in this position, but it could be quiet time. It could be going for a walk, but whatever you do in that meditation time, it's time to self-reflect and really let your brain slow down and to have that quiet time. Think about those things that you want. Remember that where you put your attention is where your energy flows. And so if your attention is on the fear and on the unknown and all of the what ifs and all of the worrying about money, then that is where all of your energy is going to go. And that's what you're going to see manifest in your life. So focus on those things that you would like to see, those positive things. If you haven't at this point in your life, take some time and figure out what your priorities are. The way I define balance is when we define what our priorities are, and priorities are those things that we deem as important in our life, those things we want to put our energy towards. And most of the time when we really look at our lives, we could say something is a priority, but when we look at our actions don't reflect that. And so take time to really identify your priorities and pay attention and look at your life up to this point and have your behaviors and your energy, have they been matching what you've been saying? Do your behaviors match your priorities? If I were a fly and followed you around all day, would I be able to tell you at the end of the day what your priorities are because of what I've watched you do and how I've watched you behave? So spend some time there. Focus on those things that you can control. Over 80% of the things we worry about never come to pass anyway. And we spend about that amount of time worrying about things completely out of our control. Those things that are in your control right now are the education that you get on this virus. Listen to the experts, please. Those doctors, the epidemiologists, all of those people out there that know what they're talking about, that have experienced things like this. Educate yourself. Don't make assumptions about people and about information you hear without checking the facts. You can control whether you stay in your house or not. You can control how you socialize now. Maybe you need to learn video. I'm doing video here for the first time, folks. This is a big deal for me. And I probably wouldn't have done it if this wouldn't have happened. So try to experiment with some new things and focus on those things that you can control. Your attitude, your thoughts, those things you do every day, your schedule. Those are the things really where you want to put your energy. Respond to situations rather than reacting. Our reactions come from our subconscious, and quite a bit of what sits in our subconscious is from past conditioning, and not all of that serves us. And so take a moment to pause. If you hear something upsetting, if you see something upsetting, if you experience anything that gets you going, take a moment, take a breath before you speak and before you act, and think about what you're about to do and what you're about to say. That is responding rather than reacting. Please practice that. And be creative. Figure out some ways that you can help people out there. We're all in this together. Keep your body moving, keep your mind active, and remember that these are times that we will remember forever. Our children are experiencing this. My grandson, who is 7, will probably never forget this time in his life. And there's a lot of us whose lives have been affected. So I want to end really quick with one of my favorite quotes by Nelson Mandela. And it's a speech he gave that I'm sure you've all heard, but I think it is very, very appropriate for our time. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God, and your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us all. It's not just in some of us, but it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. As you focus on yourself and those things that you can change and your own fear and how you can overcome that fear, you are unconsciously giving other people permission to do the same thing. This is a time where we need to let our light shine, not our darkness. So tap into that light. Tap into overcoming that and stepping into who you truly are. This is the time to do that. So with that, I leave you. Please be safe. I love you all. Take care of yourselves and focus on those things you can control.